whoever built these were not in fact human beings, but were perhaps a separate race, and their existence and even their origins is completely shrouded in mystery.
Recently released sonar images depict a strange object lurking beneath the ocean's surface. Initially, officials remained silent about the discovery, fueling speculation among onlookers. While some speculate it could be a USO, others suggest more simple explanations like a submarine or a large school of fish. However, the object vanished without a trace shortly after its initial detection, leaving researchers puzzled. This sudden disappearance has sparked intense interest and curiosity among both divers and scientists. What were these odd creatures? Join us as we explore deeper into the mystery surrounding this intriguing underwater anomaly.
On the outside of this craft were multiple small metal plates, are not too dissimilar to heat-resistant tiles that you'd find, say, on a space shuttle.
Bizarre objects in the ocean floor suddenly vanished. Many who saw the sonar images could not make sense of what the object sitting on the ocean floor could be. Even experts who are familiar with the ocean struggled to make sense of it. Thankfully, fresh information regarding the object has surfaced, but sadly, it has only raised more questions than it has answers. An article on the mysterious object revealed that the enormous 12-meter-long object, which no one could place, had suddenly disappeared. Many are skeptical about the abrupt disappearance of such a massive object from the ocean below, leading them to question the possibility of such an occurrence. Many have flat out expressed their doubt about the large object's disappearance. Upon submitting the images to an organization that studies underwater anomalies, experts could not agree on what they were seeing or how the 12-meter-long object had managed to disappear abruptly and without a trace from the sea floor. One expert admits that such an event might make sense in the case of a small object or a piece of machinery that could have fallen off a ship, adding that if the object was much smaller, the possibility of erosion or being carried away by the tide could be used as a potential explanation. However, experts stated that they were unable to explain how such a large object suddenly vanished, and those who have seen the image now claim that there are two mysteries. First, what the object is, and second, how it disappeared. To learn more about this matter, some people dug deeper into the confusing circumstances surrounding the unusual disappearance of a 12-meter object from the ocean floor. The object's abrupt disappearance has piqued people's curiosity, prompting them to consider not only the nature of the object itself, but also the puzzling circumstances surrounding its vanishing act. Throughout history, while occurrences like this are strange, they are not unheard of. Researchers studying mysterious oceanic phenomena have frequently documented strange, submerged objects floating on the ocean floor. These specialists have expressed worry about the recurrence of these anomalies and have specifically looked into the possibility of covert military retrieval operations. The ocean's enormous, mainly uncharted depths continue to hold mysteries that intrigue and confound. Authorities in the area may have preferred to prevent people from unintentionally discovering this finding and sharing the images online, and released a statement that implied that more and more people are engaging in treasure hunting, a trend that is fueling the discovery of new things beneath the surface of the sea. This cautious approach suggests a desire to maintain secrecy and control over the information to avoid unwanted attention. For many generations, people have been fascinated by the world of unexplained objects and fascinating discoveries made in the ocean. This has sparked interest and speculation about the subject. Beyond simple curiosity, a complex web of national security concerns intertwines to create obstacles to the disclosure of such artifacts. it is not altogether suspicious that the military took its time to make a statement to the public. When these underwater discoveries are made public, the main concerns are about the data that goes along with them and how that could affect national security. The revelation of these unexplained underwater discoveries raises serious concerns about how they might impact national security on a regional and international scale. If sophisticated phenomena are confirmed, questions about the capabilities and intentions of foreign enemies may be raised, which could lead to increased tension and geopolitical unrest. Confidential information about these unexplained discoveries, particularly those involving military personnel or important installations, may also be revealed. Such revelations may unintentionally expose key technologies or strategic vulnerabilities to possible adversaries. Handling such sensitive data requires extreme prudence because any unauthorized release might have far-reaching effects on defense readiness and national security. Let's take a look at the Baltic Sea anomaly, a strange occurrence that left witnesses completely puzzled in respect of their background or qualifications. The mystery of the Baltic Sea. Strangely enough, despite the widespread perception that the last frontier includes both space and enormous swaths of unexplored oceanic territory, surprising undersea discoveries have been made before. These kinds of revelations might put national defense plans in danger and impede efforts to protect against new threats. Less than 5% of the ocean has been investigated to date, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, meaning that human exploration efforts have hardly touched the surface. Every year, amazing discoveries produced by underwater archaeologists broaden our knowledge of history and serve as a constant reminder that much more remains to be discovered. The Ocean X diving crew is no stranger to mysterious discoveries. One of their widely publicized finds concerns an interesting object lying on the Baltic Sea seabed. Known as the Baltic Sea Anomaly, this underwater structure attracted a lot of attention because of its unusual appearance, which was most striking in that it resembled a disc-shaped aircraft. Online communities began to speculate that the diving team may have discovered an advanced aerial vehicle. The Baltic Sea Anomaly, which has a circumference of 60 meters, is located in the northern Baltic Sea. Peter Lindberg, Dennis Asberg, and their well-known Swedish dive team made this amazing discovery in June 2011. Remarkably, the crew visited the location again recently and reported that additional unusual activity occurred while they were precisely over the object that the study team had discovered. During their search for an ancient shipwreck, they made a fascinating discovery. As they were traveling over the object, they noticed a reading that piqued their interest. According to Ocean Acts, this mysterious anomaly has a diameter of about 60 meters and a thickness of about 3 to 4 meters. Notably, the object is supported by a sturdy structure that resembles a pillar and is situated between 85 and 90 meters below the surface. Though the depth appears to be shallow, the area's extremely low visibility makes it difficult for the team to take in their surroundings. During their first encounter, the team experienced equipment malfunctions that mysteriously stopped upon passing the object. They initially attributed this to ill luck. The team then retraced their steps, only to encounter the same problem with their equipment once more. Because of this, the crew has arrived at the theory that the object generates some kind of electromagnetic field. They have undertaken numerous experiments and, according to skilled diver Stefan, have repeatedly experienced equipment failure whenever they approach the anomaly. He described a strange occurrence when scuba diving in which all electronic equipment, including a satellite phone, stopped working when it was close to the object. The devices, however, stopped working until they were about 200 meters away from the object. Surprisingly, the devices started working again when they were above the object. Those who investigated the object claimed that it was natural, but the divers refuted this claim by pointing out that natural formations cannot turn off electrical equipment or have a disc-like shape. Dennis Asberg and the Ocean X diving team recently released an unprecedented photo of the anomaly. Dennis claims that this image has never been seen before, but he has chosen to withhold some details. Nevertheless, he has stated that he plans to explore the issue further in a podcast that he and his son will host. A more in-depth discussion of the topic can be gotten on the podcast named Dennis World. Dennis announced that he has made public a previously unreleased image of the Baltic Sea anomaly. The image was taken in 2012, and Dennis claimed that if you look closely, you can see a triangle with a hole. However, it is difficult to see, so Dennis uploaded a picture with a red line that shows that the plate is covered in sediment as well as burned organic material below. The picture was taken on the side of the object. When the team first identified the object, they had questions, which led them to look into it more. However, as they dug deeper, more questions surfaced. Because when the divers got closer to the anomaly, they saw what appeared to be a dark staircase that extended inside the object. Notably, samples were sent for analysis to ascertain their composition. According to Steve Weiner's assessments, the object was found to be made of metals that are not found in nature, rather than being a natural geological formation. The Ocean X team stated that while they were exploring the ocean's depths, they saw a massive structure that appeared even larger due to the darkness. They compared it to the size of a passenger plane and noted the difficulties they encountered when navigating in such conditions. Interestingly, they noticed a trail behind the object, which was also confirmed by sonar images. This has sparked rumors that the object may have crashed and skidded along the ocean floor. The divers found visible skid marks in that area. In addition, the researchers observed strange carvings on the object's surface that seemed out of the ordinary. The wreckage is about 90 meters below the surface, and the muddy waters make it very difficult to take pictures or record video of the scene. The team returned to the site and used a remotely operated vehicle to investigate, but as soon as it got close to the anomaly, the compass began to act strangely. Notably, a comparable incident occurred during their first experience with the anomaly. Peter Lindbergh observed that it was difficult to track the location of the remotely operated vehicle accurately because of the extremely poor visibility and the uncontrollable compass. The tether also frequently became tangled, and numerous knowledgeable people have shared accounts of an anomaly known as the equipment turning off phenomenon. Outside the Baltic Sea anomaly, many have seen otherworldly objects that have left them in confusion. The curse of the USOs. These accounts state that pilots and fishermen frequently experience an abrupt and total loss of power or energy in their electrical gadgets when they encounter unknown aircraft. Unidentified objects have been linked in some reported occurrences to the abrupt shutdown of various types of equipment, including planes, cars and tractors, automobiles, buses, and even lawnmowers. The affected devices, interestingly, usually resume working once the unknown craft leaves. One account comes from a fishing crew on a vessel who described an incident in which they saw an unknown object in the sky that caused all of their electronic devices, including the ship's radio transmission, to completely shut down. After the object moved away, everything resumed as usual, though the fishermen noticed that their mobile phones were also completely dead. There is currently little research on this phenomenon. with only eyewitness accounts of fishermen's encounters with strange objects near their fishing vessels at night that consistently cause disruptions to their equipment. However, some pilots have come forward to attest to the influence of these objects on their aircraft as well. These accounts of fishermen's encounters with strange objects have been surprisingly similar throughout the world. A fisherman related the strange event he and his kid experienced when fishing in the Jersey area. At about 10:30 p.m., they observed a light in the distance. The item was too far away for them to discern details as they drew nearer, but after a short while, the light appeared to descend and settle in the water like a lantern. 5 minutes or so later, the light was visible under the surface of the water once more, and much closer this time. Their boat's lights went out, and the engine stopped as they watched it pass beneath them, causing their VHF radio to flicker between channels. They were watching in complete darkness as an eerie light moved across the length of the boat, when all of a sudden, an item rose out of the water and magically disappeared over the horizon in a matter of seconds. Once it was gone, all the onboard electronics turned back on. Reluctant to share the account because they fear skepticism, despite the vivid encounter, they are unable to discern the nature of what they witnessed. Due to the light's dim brightness, they initially mistook it for a lantern. However, when they got closer, the object's vivid hues made it impossible for them to focus. Regrettably, the night's events prevented them from taking any pictures. Nevertheless, many people who followed this tale thought that the Baltic Sea anomaly couldn't be an unidentified submerged object because they hadn't seen the object again since that episode. While unidentified flying objects, UFOs, are typically connected to sightings in the sky, unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, are an intriguing and mysterious phenomenon that has captured the interest of researchers and enthusiasts alike. USOs are unidentified objects that are observed beneath the surface of bodies of water, such as lakes, rivers, and oceans. USOs have been documented throughout history, with some instances going back hundreds of years. Stories of unusual items rising out of the deep have been passed down through the ages, piquing people's curiosity and intrigue. But it wasn't until the modern era that USOs started to draw greater attention and examination. Many stories of sightings of USOs have appeared from throughout the globe, including the Great Lakes, the Pacific Ocean, and the Bermuda Triangle. The objects are frequently described by witnesses as glowing or emitting lights, moving underwater with extraordinary speed and agility. There are several theories as to why USOs occur. Some point to natural occurrences. Some people speculate about the potential of advanced human-made technology or extraterrestrial life. The existence of bioluminescent organisms, which can produce light patterns and strange glow underwater, is one natural explanation. Nevertheless, this explanation is unable to explain the organized movements and rapid speeds that the witnesses have experienced. According to a different theory, USOs might be cutting-edge military or experimental submarines or underwater vehicles. The fact that different governments throughout the world are known to be working on underwater technology, research and development, and that some have hypothesized that certain sightings of USOs could be connected to covert military operations, only serves to heighten the mystery surrounding USOs. To solve the mysteries surrounding USOs and throw light on this fascinating occurrence, more scientific investigation and ocean exploration are essential. Next, we look at traces of ancient underwater civilizations in Malta. Alien sightings in Malta's waters. Some of the mysteries we've looked into regarding USOs are so puzzling that we can only speculate as to what can explain them. perhaps one of the most mysterious, rests on the islands of Malta. The Republic of Malta is located on the islands in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, south of Sicily. This tiny island nation is home to some of the most remarkable megalithic buildings in the world. What's even more fascinating is the intricate network of grooves, known as the cart rods, that are etched into the bedrock and traverse the islands. Aside from the megalithic temples, Malta is renowned for its archaeological finds. These ruts in the limestone rock are called cart ruts. We have no idea what these cart ruts are used for. You could assume that they were for a wagon or chariot, but that is unlikely because the weight of the carts fluctuates constantly, making it impossible to identify the exact type of chariot. If the grooves were made by a transportation device, then something had to have pulled it. The formation of the cart ruts is still unknown, but their existence raises an intriguing possibility because some people think it could indicate that human activity existed on Malta thousands of years before what mainstream archaeology has suggested. We have cart ruts that enter the Mediterranean Sea and emerge on the other side. How is this possible? There are cart ruts that descend from dry land to the sea, and some of them have been discovered down to 140 feet. This offers a crucial hint as to how long ago they had to be made. Some of these cart ruts may be extremely old. By extremely old, they may date to before the last ice age ended, which was about 12,000 years ago. At that time, we saw these cart ruts going into the water where there would have been dry land when sea levels were much lower. The existence of these cart ruts, which lead into the Mediterranean Sea, suggests to me that an advanced civilization must have existed at that time, even if you propose the idea that 12,000 years ago, a fact, global sea levels were lower. For those who believe in ancient astronaut theory, the so-called cart ruts that run deep into the Mediterranean Sea and intersect Malta are proof of advanced extraterrestrial visits. The answer is unquestionably yes, and they propose that the waters of our seas are the site of encounters that are occurring right now, in addition to evidence of extraterrestrial visits in the distant past. The majority of people believe that UFOs are exclusively observed in the sky, yet it's fascinating to note that some of the most often reported sightings involve enigmatic objects entering and exiting our oceans. When a strange metal boat that was unlike anything local fishermen had ever seen washed up on the shore in Hitachi Province, Japan in 1803, they were shocked. This craft was described as resembling a Japanese incense burner. It is practically a flying disc or flying saucer. On the outside of the craft are several small metal plates that resemble heat-resistant tiles found on a space shuttle. A hatch opened, revealing a young woman emerging from the craft, wearing clothing never before seen and speaking a language no one could understand. The tale of the strange craft appears in 3 different Japanese texts, and even today, modern historians find it difficult to interpret. An additional well-known incident involving an unusual object emerging from the water took place in Yunnan Province, China, on October 24, 1991. A local man was fishing on Fushan Lake on a calm and clear day when a large disc appeared out of the water. The object was the strange craft, which he described as a shining disc. This UFO was so near and strong that it threw the boat off balance, and then it quickly vanished into the sky. On July 15, 2019, in San Diego, California, the USS Omaha's Navy crew members recorded footage of an enigmatic spherical object flying into the ocean at night. The clip shows the craft flying through the air until it abruptly crashes into the water without creating a splash. These USOs are frequently seen off the coast of California. They are also frequently seen in the Gulf of Mexico. If you spend any time on the Florida Gulf Coast, you will notice USOs. These objects fly through the atmosphere before abruptly entering the ocean. There is no splash or wake, they just enter the water and, in many cases, disappear. One such object never emerged from the water, and a submarine was sent to search for a craft that may have crashed, but nothing was found. According to ancient astronaut theories, the pressures and strains of entering space, flying to the atmosphere, and then diving into the oceans would be enough to destroy any known aircraft. A 1492 report by Christopher Columbus contains what may be the most convincing description of alien presence in Earth's waters. One of the most well-known stories about Christopher Columbus is that, during his first voyage across the Atlantic to reach the Caribbean, he saw a light in the ocean to the west, hovering over the water. This light then descended into the water, making Columbus possibly one of the first witnesses to describe a trans-medium craft that could hover up above the water and then disappear into it like a submarine. Columbus wrote this story in his journals. Tales of submerged items. These underwater machines that the aliens have, or the light objects that shoot out of the water, have been around for a great many years. With nearly 200 miles of coastline, Southern California is a picturesque area known for its beaches, surfing, and abundant life. It is also a hotspot for reports of unexplained light sightings in the water. People have reported seeing lights in the water outside Point Dume on the Malibu coast, and there is an odd 911 call from a witness near Point Dume who claims to have seen a light emerge from the water and reported it to the sheriff's station. With the sightings of these USOs going and coming out of our waters, many have wondered if there are alien bases situated in our oceans, captivating alien underwater bases. While the thought of underwater alien bases in Earth's oceans may sound like science fiction, one theory regarding this transmedia travel and these USOs is that what we're seeing is proof of underwater bases they're running here, but under the oceans, right under our noses. 6 miles off the coast of Malibu, a very unusual formation was seen on the seafloor in 2014, according to satellite photos. About 2,000 feet below the surface, the satellite images reveal what appears to be an oval, flat-topped structure with legs that are holding it up. Many people were thrilled to learn of this discovery because it's so remarkable and artificial-looking that it begs the question: have aliens made an underwater base on Earth? Are the odd lights seen in the waters off the coast of Southern California connected to the strange undersea structure seen in satellite images? Some experts think that these things must have an operating basis since they are all buzzing our aircraft, but that would kind of negate the observational goal. So that we don't thwart their plans, one possibility is that they have an underwater base that is concealed from human prying eyes. Not only is the formation found deep in the ocean off the coast of Malibu extremely strange, but mysterious abnormalities have been found on the seabed around the world that some have said are underwater alien constructions. The Underwater Geological Survey discovered dome-shaped structures between Cuba and Florida's coast. These were likely USO bases because the finest places to hide are beneath our oceans. The oceans contain everything a ship could need to survive. They have plants and animals that can be harvested for food, minerals, and salt that can be extracted from the water, and the ability to separate hydrogen from oxygen in the water to create fuel and air that we breathe. If extraterrestrials are present in our oceans, it's possible that they are not just hiding there, rather, it could be their preferred habitat. The accounts of people citing USOs have become so widespread that it's impossible that there is no truth to it. Here's yet another account of USO sightings. The dark mass underwater US Navy Commander David Fravor once shared an unsettling new finding in October 2019 that a colleague pilot shared with him after they both left the Navy. There was a possibility he had seen an underwater UFO. Fravor claims that the eyewitness was a former pilot of the Navy's MH-53 EEC Dragon, which is stationed at Naval Station Roosevelt Roads on the island of Puerto Rico. The aircraft is the Navy's equivalent of the Marine Corps CH-53 Stallion. The pilot saw what we now refer to as an unidentified submerged object, USO, twice while pulling spent practice munitions out of the water. When the pilot and his crew were retrieving a flying practice drone in the first incident, they noticed a dark mass underwater. The pilot was positive that the item wasn't a submarine and characterized it as a big mass that was kind of circular. According to the pilot's second sighting, a practice torpedo that the pilot had been ordered to recover sucked down into the ocean's depths, while an identical underwater item was present. The torpedo vanished from sight forever. Fravor says that a 79-year-old woman got in touch with him after word of his sighting spread. The woman clarified that in the 1950s, her father, a Navy officer, was stationed at the naval station in San Francisco. Her father once showed her a telegraph when she was little, stating that in the now forgotten latitude and longitude, observers had seen strange submerged objects entering and exiting the water. Fravor's sighting is comparable to these occurrences. The veteran Navy pilot claimed that the only reason he had spotted the now famous Tic Tac UFO was because it was passing over an unidentified larger craft that had been observed submerging. According to Fravor, the object was roughly the size of a Boeing 737 airliner and had a cross-shaped body. In addition, he claimed that the object vanished as soon as he noticed it and described the water above it as boiling or frothing. What do you make of these USO sightings? Be sure to leave your questions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling videos like this.